Hello, and you are very welcome along to episode number 2 of the Dirt Trackers Rugby Podcast. This week, in the lead up to Leinster's Rabo Direct Pro 12 clash with Cardiff, we talked to interested parties on both sides. We caught up with Halfpenny Madigan, who was scoring tries for fun in League and Cup action, and chatted to 22-year-old front row Jack McGrath about the threat that Cardiff's front row are sure to pose. Jono Gibbes is also on hand to discuss the team's current winning streak and what is set to be a testing encounter in Wales on Saturday. We also had the opportunity to catch up with Cardiff's Leigh Halfpenny. He impressed at full-back for Wales in the World Cup, but is expected to line out against Joe Schmidt's men on the right wing. So, turning our attention to that game in Cardiff City Stadium at 6:15pm on Saturday, we have Ian Madigan and his thoughts on the top-of-the-table clash.
You know, the secret to the 13 games unbeaten is that we've taken each game individually. You know, we didn't set a target to go 13 games unbeaten. You know, we set a target after we lost against Glasgow to win the next game, and then after that to win the following game again. So, you know, we're going into this game no different. We know Cardiff are going to be very tough opposition. So, you know, playing them at home, we lost there last year, so we know what to expect going over there. Coming off the win against Connacht, like we didn't score any tries and they scored 2 tries, so you know you certainly can't feel unbeatable after a result like that. And you know it's a very humble squad, so you know I certainly don't think there's any feeling of us being unbeatable. I think now, like when a lot of the frontliners are away, there's still players there like Owen O'Malley who step up. You know, the likes of Dave Carney, lads who've 30 caps. You know, they're not inexperienced anymore. You know, they know what Joe expects from them, and they're able to fit in very easily. We played them a few weeks ago, and you know they had quite a week inside out because there was a Welsh international on at the time. But you know they have a game in hand in the league, and you know they're right in it. Like if they were to beat us and win that game in hand, they'd be right up to the top. So you know we're expecting a really tough game. Like as I said, like there's no targets to win like 13 games. It's just focus game by game, and you know this is a big game for us, especially leading into the Heineken Cup. You know you certainly don't want to have a loss under your belt going into two big group games. You know when the internationals are away, like it's only a small window, like it might only be 2 games, and you know there really is pressure on you to perform, because if you don't perform in that window, then the internationals come back and you could find then that you haven't played in 4 or 5 games, and you could easily lose your spot. So to be honest, there's massive competition in training, and there's a real edge to training now. Like when the forwards and backs split, I know, and the backs are running against each other. So like the backline that would be selected for the weekend will be really challenged by the second backline as such. And this is my 3rd year in the squad now, and I definitely think this is the most competitive the squad's ever been, which is great. It's given Joe tough selections, which is what he wants. I've really just focused on playing well with Leinster and just working on my game with Joe. And if an Ireland A call up happens, well and good. But to be honest, I really just want to focus on improving and working with Joe.
And have you been happy to have the try scoring element to your game as well? There's a few scored this season.
Yeah, obviously I'm happy to be scoring a few tries, but I'd be equally happy if people were scoring them around me and we were winning games. I think it's just something that's happened. It's not like I'm going out intending to score tries. But no, it is nice to be scoring tries.
I suppose does it help with the confidence? Does it make you scream a little bit louder for that ball when you're out on the pitch?
A small bit. Like at out half, I think the ball's going to come your way regardless whether you're calling for it or not. No, I do think like when we get into the opposition 22, I do think like try and work my feet and try and get a try that way. But no, it wouldn't be something I'd be going into games targeting to get tries.
Sure, I think the young guys are stepping up very well, and I think it's great for the all-around squad for that to happen. Yeah, it is. It's brilliant being able to bring the young guys in and get those results, and it's great confidence for everyone in the squad.
Yeah, Cardiff are expected to bring back a few of the big boys. Is there a couple of players that you think would stand out as major threats?
Definitely their back row, Sam Warburton, would be definitely a key player for them. That we think that he went very well for them in the World Cup and everything like that for Wales. So him coming back would be a massive boost for them.
And just someone like Warburton, so young, leading his country as well, an inspiration to a player like yourself?
Yeah, obviously he's in a different position, but he would be. Yeah, I suppose he would be.
Yeah, I think the first 60 minutes were good. They weren't great, but we put ourselves in a position to sort of close the game out there, and I think the disappointment comes from the last sort of 20 odd minutes where we kind of let Connacht take the initiative away from us. So plenty to work on. Always going to be a physical game down there, and it's a good test going into Cardiff now. We're going to try and put a few more players back into the mix. Hopefully get some kind of momentum, a little bit of gelling of combinations, and got a big couple of Heineken rounds past that. It would have been nice to have a few more of them, down Galway. But look, it's just this is just how it is now. I think Cardiff suffer the same sometimes. They're not always together as a squad. I think Wales Australia game probably didn't come at the right time for them, but when they are together, they've got a lot of experience. So I think it's just about us bringing guys back in, trying to get the combination, trying to get a bit of momentum and get moving. Really, every squad will have their own sort of troubles during the Pro 12. I think what we're looking to try and do is to build depth, keep developing underneath the international level. Obviously, that's the ultimate. But I think there's some guys that have shown that they're developing, they're sort of taking in, sort of the feedback that they're getting, the understanding of the expectation of the group and whoever plays for Leinster, and showing that they're starting to get that, and they're equipped to do it. So I think that's a real positive for the club.
I've always played fullback growing up. It was just where I felt I belonged, really, where I felt most comfortable, and it was only later on in my career that I switched to the wing, and obviously started there with the Blues, and I think had a couple of opportunities at fullback, and when I played there, I felt that's when I had my better performances, but whatever they do, we'll hopefully be prepared for it, and I'm looking forward to having a good challenge in the air, and look forward to owning the sky. Extremely excited. It's just full of talent, full of pace, full of skill, full of power, and it's quite deadly. And it's crucial that we get good ball and express ourselves, and we know where our strengths are, and then we need to execute everything we get, and that if chances come, in international rugby, it's important that we take them, and no doubt, we'll be fully prepared for that. I've been captained by Sam all through age groups, and he's no different now than when he was as captain now than he was through the age groups. He's just not a man of many words, but when he does speak, it means a lot, and it's very inspiring, and he just leads from the front. I think he lets his actions on the field do the talking rather than coming from his mouth, and that's I think from what you're getting now from the younger boys is a very professional attitude. I think that's where the game's changed, especially in Wales, where since the academy systems have been put in, where you're basically taught how to be a professional all the way through that process, and I think Sam's he's come through and is really bringing a professional attitude to the squad, and I think every person has every team member has bought into that.
Now, let's not forget about the other Irish provinces in action this weekend. Ulster were first up against Edinburgh on Friday night, while Connacht and Munster were both in action on Saturday. Eric Elwood's side will look to kickstart a faltering season away to Aironi, while Paul O'Connell and company will entertain the other Italian side in the league, Benetton Treviso.